What up, everybody? Go Season 2, we were introduced to a new player in the New York drug game, Mecca, who had returned to New York over 20 years later after getting arrested as Dante Spears. Over time, Dante had transformed himself into Mecca and became one of the biggest players in the game, working with cartel leaders, arms dealers, and freedom fighters, while snitching on them at the same time. Because Mecca was a high-level informant for the U.S. government, who at one time was even barred from the States for his own protection. Mecca was a multi-millionaire with his own private hangar, private planes, a penthouse, and a fleet of cars, and that's just what we knew about. But Mecca had unfinished business to tend to while in New York, reuniting with his high school sweetheart, Nene Stewart, who had also reinvented herself as Monet Tejada. But it was soon revealed to Mecca that Monet had been hiding the fact that they had a child together from back in the day, star basketball player Ezekiel Cross. But through a chain of events, Mecca ends up getting killed by Monet, and his son Zeke was killed as well, accidentally by Lorenzo thinking he was gunning down Mecca. As a result of that, in Season 3, Monet inherited Mecca's penthouse, by default being Zeke's biological mother. Monet then gave the penthouse to Kane and Drew to live in until she could find a buyer. But around this same time, we also got our introduction to Noma, who was Mecca's fiancée, first by her retrieving the blue diamond ring that the crew stole from Mecca in a heist, saying that it belongs to her because Mecca intended it for her. After retrieving the ring, she then headed to Mecca's penthouse, where she found Kane, Tariq, and Braden discussing getting back in the game. But the problem was that none of them had a connect, and Tariq didn't even want back in the game at the time either. Noma stormed into the penthouse, immediately asking questions about what happened to Mecca and how her ring ended up at an auction. They told Noma they didn't know what happened and convinced her that they could take Mecca's place as her New York distro. And it was at this point where Noma also told them that Mecca snitched on all her enemies and kept law enforcement off of her back. So Noma knew about Mecca being a snitch and actually took advantage of it to get to the top of the game. The rest of Season 3, the crew was establishing their network so they could move Noma's product, so they could keep themselves and their families safe from Noma's threats. But then a chain of events played out that changed things up, including Effie getting arrested, the Rico case, and mainly Diana and Drew finding out the truth about Lorenzo's murder. This left Monet isolated after her kids turned on her, so she made the one move that she had, turning to Noma to get put in charge of the operation, basically taking over Mecca's position that the crew would then answer to Monet, and Noma could keep her hands clean like she was doing before with Mecca. But before Noma agreed to this, she questioned Monet about her and Mecca's relationship, and was asking if she had anything to do with Mecca's death. And even though Monet didn't admit to anything, what was understood didn't need to be explained. And Noma let it go because of the fact that Mecca had been playing her. But Diana and Drew had sought revenge on behalf of Lorenzo by sending Tommy after Tasha and saying it was Monet who dropped off the letter, banking it would get back to Tariq that Monet got Tasha killed, or at least tried to get her killed, and Tariq would then handle the rest. But instead of their plan of Tariq taking Monet out, Tasha took it upon herself to take a shot at Monet and left Monet fighting for her life. But as soon as Monet woke up, she was asking her kids if they knew who shot her. And even though Diana initially lied and said it was Tariq, at this point, she had already took it back and said she had made a mistake. Then Season 4, Episode 3, Diana's secret was exposed as Pinky retrieved the Ring door cam footage from Kay Egan's house. Now Monet has to make a decision of revenge or forgiveness. And according to Monet's character description for Season 4, she's going to choose the forgiveness route. But at the same time, she still wants to know who actually shot her. And at the same time, Tariq wants revenge against Diana, not only for manipulating him, but mostly because she tried to get his mother killed. And we see from the Episode 4 trailer that Tariq will hunt Diana and find her at Salim's house. But I also think that Diana will get her own life spared by Tariq by letting him know that she is pregnant and most likely saying that the child belongs to him. Because the season 4 trailer shows Tariq with Diana at a pregnancy clinic. But at the same time, Tariq needs to get on his ghost, like father, like son business and solve a problem before it becomes a problem in regards to finding someone to pin Monet's shooting on before Monet figures out it was Tasha who shot her. And by getting connected back with Diana, because the fact that Diana is known for telling people's business, she will tell him about the tension that has been going on between Monet and Noma, starting out with Monet getting in the middle of Noma's meeting with the Russians, to Noma then sending Monet a text message saying that she's not needed at work, only for when Monet was meeting up with her kids to complain about this to be interrupted by both Kane and Drew getting a text from none other than Noma. And even though at first Noma was looking out for Monet and making sure she got better, at this point, I think she's also annoyed by Monet because she was saying some real disrespectful things to Kane about his relationship with Monet. So Tariq could capitalize on the tension brewing between Monet and Noma and convince Monet that Noma either shot her or most likely that she put a hit on Monet to take her out and get her out of the way as revenge for Mecca and as a way to put her children under her thumb. Because as of right now, Monet can't even think of anybody who would have motive to shoot her besides Tariq, and now she doesn't think that Tariq shot her either. So pinning it on Noma would be the perfect way to get Noma out of the picture, especially now that she no longer has Obi watching her back for protection, and she's leaning on Kane. If word got back to Kane that Noma put a hit out on Monet for retaliation for Monet killing Mecca, Kane might take out Noma himself. And either though Tariq might let Diana slide because she's pregnant, he might play her at the same time, just like he played Effie in episode 3. By convincing Diana after Monet forgives her and finds out that she's pregnant, to tell Monet that she also turned to Noma and told her that Monet shot Mecca. Keep it in mind the fact that Diana does not want to be under Noma's thumb. She told Effie in episode 2 that she didn't want to get back in the game, and she told Drew in episode 3 that when she got a chance, she was going to tell Noma that she's out. And Drew checked her, reminding her the same thing that Effie did in episode 2, that with Noma, you're either in or you're out with a bullet. So because of this, Diana might be willing to go with Tariq's plan to pin Monet's shooting on Noma as a way to get out from Noma's thumb and out the game. This would only solve a problem before it became a problem, with Monet finding out it was Tasha who shot her. If Monet or Kane were to take out Noma in revenge, this would also take out the threat of Noma and being able to sell product. And Tariq and Brady wouldn't have to hide what they're into because Noma is a problem that needs solved as well, especially now that they're back in the game, because it will only be a matter of time until she finds this out. And even if they didn't get back in the game, Noma had already said once things cooled down that she wanted Tariq killed for even trying to get to her daughter. So if Tariq is able to pull this off and have Monet take out Noma, this would eliminate most of his problems. Either though Detective Don Carter is still lurking in the shadows, waiting on his opportunity to make a move. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.